Live now, and guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Chris, 1/3 of the Rundown crew. We're going to be going live as normal on a Thursday, but tonight I wanted to do something I haven't done in a long time, which is an after show right after the airing of a new episode of The Mandalorian. I'm going to try to do this every week and recap do a review and recap of every episode of The Mandalorian. And joining me on this first episode of season 3 will be Ryan Cam from, you said the channel is called, is the Ryan Cam channel, or is it just Ryan Cam?
Just Ryan Cam.
Just
yes.
Ryan Cam. No, the in front of us though. Don't want to be. We're going to be a little laid back. We're not going to get too formal with it. So, Ryan, or if you want to tell my audience who might be watching this, if they come in live or if they watch this after the fact, a little bit about you and your channel.
Yeah, absolutely. So my channel's name is Ryan Cam. I review movies and TV shows. I review a lot of things. Just got done on my channel reviewing all of the Rocky and Creed movies because Creed 3 is coming out this Friday. Looking forward to that quite a bit. That was a lot of fun to review all of those movies. And then in honor of John Wick Chapter 4, I'm going to be reviewing all the John Wick movies. John Wick Chapter 1 will be this coming Sunday. And I actually just rewatched that movie for the first time in a really long time. And it's really crazy just how it's gone from like where it is now versus how kind of humbly it began. So it was interesting to revisit. And I have a podcast with my good friend Jacob Martin called Life in the Movies, where we do monthly previews and animation celebrations. It's just a great time. So if you haven't checked me out, please do.
Awesome. Yeah, and I will. I'll definitely be checking that out because I also just rewatched a lot of those movies, and I'm going to be seeing Creed 3 tonight. Actually, later on tonight after the sun rises and falls. It was a surprise. I was waiting to watch it or get my tickets for Thursday or maybe Friday. And then I opened up my AMC app and I just saw that it was like a advanced screening for Wednesday night. I was like, oh, wow, that was a pleasant surprise. So I can't wait to check that out. But tonight we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian, man. Ryan, we just finished watching it. We're fresh off the app and I can't wait to get into it. So you want to lead us off? What did you think about the episode overall, coming back to the show?
I thought this was a good episode. I think this was a good way to settle us back into the world. I like the potential storylines we could see spinning off from this.
Right.
It's a very short episode. I did not expect it to only be 35 minutes.
Right.
When I saw that runtime, I was like,
I was
the
shocked.
season premiere? There was no way. But sure enough, it's only 35 minutes. I mean, less than that if you count the 5 minutes, if you don't count the 5 minutes of credits. Overall, I thought it was good. I thought it was a way to get us back into the world. And there was some things that I was like, if you didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, then you're probably going to miss out on certain things. Overall, I thought it was good.
Overall, I agree. The episode itself was good. I agree with you that before I even started the app, like 5 minutes before watching the episode, I was wondering how they obviously were going to recap it. We saw more scenes, I feel like, from the previous season of Mandalorian than I thought that we were going to be like previously on the Book of Boba Fett. I thought that they would just tie it in to that more than anything else, because those last 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett were really just some extended scenes or extra scenes of what was it, like season 2.5 of The Mandalorian. And I was surprised that they leaned more on the history. We saw more flashbacks of what happened in like season 2. So I thought that was a little bit interesting, but then it made sense in watching the episode. I agree. The overall episode, I enjoyed, and there was some things that I felt were a couple of redundancies from, like, for example, like and I'm glad that we weren't just on the same planet like of Tatooine when we get to revisit the same old, or when we get to see um, aliens or the other creatures that we saw in previous movies. Because like for example the I don't know what they're called, but the aliens that were in the trees, that I think we saw those in the Return of the Jedi for the first time, right?
Yeah.
And the things like that. So I was like, well, at least we're not in Tatooine revisiting these, but it still followed that same Mandalorian trend of hey, check out this old character here, check out that. Okay, so it was nice to see some of those things happening. But the overall story, like from the way it began, when did you believe that when the story started, did you think that we were looking at a flashback, or did it seem like that was present time?
I
Under-
did. I was saying to myself, "Oh, that must be young Din right
Right,
there." But no, it wasn't.
right.
Clearly the Mandalorian, I don't want to call it an alliance, but I can't remember how they call it, but apparently they're still taking in new members. And when
Mm.
I saw that kid in the water, I was thinking to myself, that must be like the day that Din got his helmet.
Right.
But what threw me off potentially was that's a different helmet. It's
Helmet,
a different
yeah.
color.
It was the helmet, and I said, and I thought, well, maybe the helmet changes after every birthday or something. I don't know what their traditions are, but you're exactly what I was thinking. It threw me off, and it took me a second to realize. Well, Bo Katan would call it a cult. I guess that's the word that she's using. But yeah, that boy, I would have sworn anything. I would have bet any money that this was a flashback, and because it seemed like after being scattered, it seemed like if this was that since this was present day, everybody seemed to be in good spirits. We're on a nice planet. There's a nice beach. It's sunny outside. Everybody seems. I mean, the numbers are fewer than they were before, but everybody seems to be in good health and spirits, and like you said, recruiting new members. Until it turned into Jurassic Park, I was like, did they know? Did they know those things were in the water? That kind of surprised me. That that what was that? The creature from Jurassic Park, the one that was always in the water, the giant dinosaur that took out the big bad. And spoilers if you haven't seen Jurassic World.
I honestly don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the Jurassic World movie, so I've
Right.
blocked like 80% of them out of my head.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. That last Jurassic World movies, I honestly felt like I was watching an episode of Tailspin because of that one pilot with the. She even flew the same damn plane. But anyway, sticking to
Side road.
the Mandalorian. So, but I was writing notes. I was trying to keep quiet. My wife's sleeping. Every time I wake her up, which I always do whenever I'm watching my shows, I get in trouble. So I'm trying to shine my phone on a piece of paper and write notes. So I wrote down the armorer making the helmet for the boy, and so like you said, they're recruiting again. So what do you think about that? Like they're trying to build their numbers back up. So it's slowly but surely. But if I remember correctly, the boy had to bathe. Didn't he come out of the water? Wasn't the water also a part of the tradition of when he was being initiated?
Is the living waters. That's the term that they use, and that's clearly the thing that Din is shooting for this
Right.
season. It's definitely heavily implied that the goal at the end, or I don't know if they rush this or if they drag this out,
Hmm.
but the end goal of this season is to get to Mandalore and to see once and for all if it is poisoned, as they say, or if it's some kind of an elaborate ruse, which means that we're getting Mandalorian live action, which, as a Clone Wars fan,
You're
that
waiting for
makes me
that.
happy.
So the whole seeing what the whole planet in ruins is. That's after seeing how it looked, and Clone Wars, and I think a little bit we saw a little bit of the planet war torn in Rebels as well. Um, I'm looking forward to that as well. Getting going on to the when he was making his way to Navarro. Did you notice what was in hyperspace?
I it's probably a it's probably a Star Wars thing. It looked like these creatures. I'm sure you know exactly what it
It
is.
was though it was in if you haven't seen watch Star Wars Rebels, it was introduced there. There are the creatures that can travel in hyperspace. Like I don't know what their real names are. I call them space whales, but I think they might be force sensitive. But they travel in hyperspace, and that's when you can see those in the on the silhouette. I saw they look like whale squid like creatures. I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence. Okay. Is that a National Treasures reference? There from was it
That's
Friends
how
Wage?
I'm taking it.
Got to be. Yeah, go ahead, man. Hey, I'm not gonna stop you. I'm not gonna stop you, friends. But we're talking. So if you happen to see the newest episode of the Mandalorian, that's what we're talking about right here. But yeah, that's what was the space whales. They were there, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe they're force sensitive as well. So Grogu may have been communicating with them. But when we made it back to Navarro, and we got back in touch with High, is it what do you call it? Majestate Karga? Am I saying that word right? Majestate, Majestate.
Magistrate, I believe.
Magistrate. I was trying to write it down. I said I can't read my own handwriting sometimes, and I couldn't remember if it was magistrate or magistrate. The High Magistrate Karga, and the city looked great. I mean, everything was brought back around. So what do you think about that?
That was a bit of a surprise to me because I believe I can't remember which season. I think it may have been one or two. It
Mhm.
was definitely in there, but I remember it just being like an old west type of town, and now it's pretty much a city at this point.
Right. It
And
it
it was not jarring, but it was like oh, they've actually gone civilized now. This is going to be interesting to see because
right.
how we see Carl Weathers' character, the High Magistrate, in the beginning of the show versus now, it's a bit of it's a bit of a leap going from where he started to where he is now.
I felt that, but then I thought of. I mean, like I mean, I know it's not the future technically, but if you think about all the technology around, I mean, would it if they did enough importing, I'm assuming it wouldn't have taken that long to turn it around. If they, it's just I see what you're saying. I would have rather it have been a work in progress, but this felt like it was a finished product, and I would have rather seen a work in progress kind of a situation myself. But yeah, I get what you're saying, and they're and I was surprised that they didn't even acknowledge it enough. They were like, well, he said that there was a lot of trade going on, so I imagine that was the way they were quickly explained. All bars are now schools now. It's just we're complete 180 from where it was lawless under the old regime and the way things were to now that we're a complete 180 from where it was. We're turning bars into schools. Where the technology is now all over the place is thriving with statues and everybody seems it felt like you said the old west that and brought to Metropolis now it felt like from Gotham to Metropolis almost and
Yeah.
that was kind of jarring, but I agree with you on that one.
I don't know if you've ever played Red Dead Redemption
Oh yeah,
2,
yeah, I
but
did.
how the game starts where it's all pretty much just frontiers
Hmm.
to where you end up in legally distinct New Orleans, as I call it. I can't
Hmm.
remember the name of the town, but how you start in the game versus how you finish, it's definitely a case of the West getting tamer
Right.
as more
As time
cities
as
get
time goes
erected.
by. Yeah, I haven't played that game in such a long time, but I remember what you're talking about. It almost reminds me of from the first three seasons of Avatar to the Legend of Korra, how the city how the city evolved
Yeah,
after
exactly.
after the new Avatar was brought in. So yeah, the whole planet seemed to be, or maybe at least that part of the planet seemed to be thriving real good. So I mean, hell, I guess he was a better world leader than he was a just. I wouldn't call him a pirate. I wouldn't. He was. Was he a pirate in season one? Like
I
he
mean,
was.
we did see actual pirates in this episode, so calling him
Yeah.
a pirate is a bit generous.
I mean, he was mean. Yeah, so he commingled with and he paid people to do like those little missions and stuff. Little everything wasn't always on the up and up. So I would say, yeah, pirate. He lived that lifestyle,
Yeah.
and I knew that the introduction of those pirates and those who remembered them from way complaining about the school now being their bar, what their bar used to be and stuff like that. I knew that it wasn't going to be the take over the whole a point or the plot of this episode, but I was surprised at how much time, especially when he got back into outer space, that fight. I felt like that fight lasted a little bit. Took a good chunk of time out of the story. I didn't expect him to complete his mission and to redeem himself at the end of this episode. I don't even expect him to do it in the next episode. But I thought that dog fight lasted a little bit longer than it was okay with me. It was great visually, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm alone in that one. The
I can see where you're coming from, but one point I did want to bring up before we got too far away from it.
mm-hmm.
The aversion to the New Republic. I don't know if you caught this, but the sort of anti-New Republic sentiment, meaning
For
I
Navarro,
believe I believe we're in the time of how if my memory serves, if I believe Leia Skywalker was trying to run for Galactic Senate, but and this is me reading my book's brain
I
right
think I
here.
think what held back or what derailed her political career was people finding out that Darth Vader was her father.
Exactly, that's
Mm-hmm.
where I was going for, and I
Mm-hmm.
think I don't know how deep down that rabbit hole they're going to go,
Mm-hmm.
but I felt like that would have been something where is like the New Republic either is established or is on the way to being
Right,
established, and not everyone is super on board with it. So
right.
it's subtle, but it is there, and I hope that they explore that more in this season.
You're right about that. And I agree. They did. You're right. They did mention it, and Cargo said that you know what I'm assuming. And I'm putting words in his mouth. I'm paraphrasing it, but I'm assuming after the fall of the Republic and then dealing with the Empire, even hearing that the New Republic, it's going to be more. It's not going to be like the way things were, and it's going to be opposite of the Empire. But still, you're going to have a lot of planets a lot of systems that are going to be like, no, you know what, we're tired of being a part of these systems, and you guys have failed us in numerous ways. First the Republic, and then the Empire. I'm sure we're going to explore more planets, just like Navarro saying things like, we want to just be independent. We just want to be on our own. We're tired of these systems. We're not going to add. He specifically said, I'm not going to try to get a pull a sheriff from the new Empire, and I'd rather it be somebody I know. I was tempted. I was like, dude, Mando, just take the land. He's offering you peace.
Yeah.
I'm like, I looked at that like, I don't know if I would have said no to that. At least I would have even if I wanted to finish my mission and get him going to get his honor back, I would have still taken the land. I feel like he's earned it. A place to stay for his son, Grogu, if you ask me.
Not to mention that the High Magistrate, his exact words were "far off bureaucracy." That
Mm-hmm.
was exactly what he said. So that's the sentiment being permeated
Yeah.
throughout.
We don't want to be under the thumb of all these corrupt politicians and these bureaucrats anymore, and stuff like that. I guess is what he's thinking.
It's been 10 years. It's been 10 years since then. We just left one. Let's not go into one again.
Exactly. So you're right. So I'm not mad at the fact that you know what, and now that I think about it, I probably would feel the same way. There's probably a lot of people that feel like they were failed by the Republic, especially when the clones, and when the New Republic just turned itself into the Empire, and the way they went cruel. But I love seeing those stories, and I hope we get more of these types of stories in this season or in season 4, where I love it when we see from the Empire's point of view, and they do this very well in Andor, where we see people in the Empire, or people who are loyal to the Empire, how they from their point of view, they're the good guys, and this is not everybody in the Empire was evil and corrupt. They raised their children, they raised their families, they lived their lives, and I want to see more of that. I want to be conflicted. Thanks for joining us in the chat. This is Derpy Entertainment. He said, "Wow, He said it was underwhelming. That the tone. To him the tone sucked. I hope you're not talking about the show, our recap, but I wouldn't say this. I wouldn't say the tone was that bad. I felt like it was a good jumping off point to get us back into the mood of Mandalorian. What do you think?
It felt very on brand for the past couple of seasons because it certainly helps that Jon Favreau has been on board for pretty much all of this show.
Mm-hmm.
So he's had his hand on the reins creatively. So it's nice to see that symmetry.
And we still may be seeing. He's saying for Mando, it was family friendly. I'll give him that. It was family. Well, I mean that. They did blow up a dinosaur. It was kind of awesome.
I was going to say, not to mention the High Magistrate just casually just
shot people in
a bunch of pirates,
yeah.
like he's Lee Van Cleef for a few dollars more. It's like, come on now.
And Cargo, he was friendly about it. I mean, he shot his friend's or the old acquaintance's hand, and was going to let everybody else live. And then when and the rest of the group flinched again, it was Mando who just laid the rest of them down. He's like, no. And then it was his suggestion. You want to take care of him too? Because that last guy might be a problem. So Mando was on brand. He was taking no prisoners. So maybe the feel of it, like deep derpy entertainment. Maybe I can understand how you feel. Maybe it just felt that way because it's been so long. Maybe we're trying to get that Book of Boba Fett taste out of us and get back into the Mandalorian spirit of it. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was like you said, on brand. Moving off of the Navarro planet, the asteroid fight, it just. To me, it reminded me of why do people try to fight Mandalorians or people who are related to Mandalorians like Jango Fett and stuff in asteroid fields? It never works out for anybody. It reminded me. What did you think about that asteroid field fight? I already mentioned that it to me it felt like it dragged too long. But what did you think about it?
It was definitely like I definitely like some asteroid fights in my Star Wars. I love the one in Empire Strikes Back. I love the one in Attack of the Clones. Like Attack of the Clones, that whole movie is just it's like that's a whole discussion for a whole nother time. But
right.
One of my favorite scenes in that movie is Django navigating through the asteroids and dropping off those. I'm sure they have an elaborate name.
That boom. Yeah, I love those.
That's such a crazy weapon, and Obi-Wan just having to navigate his way through all that. That was good stuff. And
yeah.
I like how Mando had to go up against that pirate who looked suspiciously like Swamp Thing.
Exactly. Is it Gorian Shard? Yeah. I said that dude look. That was the name that just popped. That popped into my head. Of course, he looked exactly like Swamp Thing. Derpy Entertainment goes. It was cool, but for the tone and the writing, it was family friendly and much lighter tone compared to its previous season. There were puns, and he's crying about it, about the pun, the crying emoji. He also continues with, this episode to me should have been longer. We were saying that earlier. Yeah, it was a shock that this was pretty much a 30-minute a 35-minute episode minus the 5 minute, 5 7 minute credits. And it says at least a good extra 10 minutes. It could, yeah. I felt like if or if not, at least that the because when the space fight started and it was just the first three that popped up on the radar, I was like, okay, he's gonna knock these three ships out, and then it's gonna be over. Then another three came. I was like, oh wow, okay. So either he's gonna get captured, or it's gonna just be a long space fight scene, which I like. I'm not opposed to them. I want war in my Star Wars. I love it, but I felt like I wanted to get where he was going. So I just felt like it was taking away from what we were gonna see after that. But then what came after that was the visit to Bo-Katan. But before we get to that conversation, do you think we're gonna see that pirate again?
Yes,
absolutely.
I can't tell you where or when, but I have a feeling. I have a feeling that that's not the last time that we've seen
Gorian
off
Shard.
Jones.
Yeah, Davy Jones' locker, was that what it was? Bifur is also everybody's on the same sheet of music. This episode was too damn short. Everybody's in agreement on that. We were so shocked. I would have bet money that this would have been at least a 60-minute or at least 50-minute episode, and but they did. I'm hoping that the assassin robot. I'm not surprised, and I'm a little bit kind of okay with the choice that they went with the droid that they brought back, how it defaulted to its original programming. That I thought made sense. I was like, okay. Because if I was gonna feel like it was cheesy if he would have woke up and was like, "Oh, hello, my new my friends. Thanks for bringing me back to life." Like, no, we were like, kill. I thought that was funny. The second he brought it to life, they had to shoot it in the head
or drop a bust on it.
Yeah, but Durfee Entertainment he's right. The puns. He was like, oh, I guess that's what was the line? That's using your head.
Something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna. To me that was a face palm moment. I was like, wah wah. but it's Star Wars, so we gotta. It wouldn't be Star Wars without the puns, the dad jokes that we get every now and then. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. Moving on to that conversation, that tension with Bo-Katan. She seemed completely defeated or depleted. I mean, the fight is pretty much gone. She said most of her crew is already left her, but she did say that since he still has the sword, hey, wave that thing. The way she even talked about the sword, like she didn't even care anymore. Just wave it around and they'll follow you. Like it was. If I'm not mistaken, it was mentioned because it didn't make sense when the sword was, you're supposed to win the sword in combat, but then when it was handed off, I guess when they handed it off, it was, that's what cursed her the first time. Like, nobody's going to really, we can't respect you as the leader since you were handed the sword, you didn't win it. So I'm assuming somewhere down the line, Mando and her have to face off.
Yeah. That seems like what they're building to, and I feel like there was something missing, like some context needed to just explain how did she get this way, because she and her two that she was with, that she was so gung-ho about getting like the rise of Mandalore again, and now she's like she just can't be asked. I feel like
what's the wrestler's name? I forgot. And I love her in WWE.
She's currently known as Mercedes Moné.
Yeah,
she was the former Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks. She'll always be Sasha Banks to me. So do you think she'll be back? I hope so, but I enjoyed her on the show. But you think they're writing her off?
I liked her on the show too. she said in interviews that she's pretty much on her own schedule now,
Mm.
so
So she's free
there's
to
nothing
do it.
really holding her back. So I
Hmm.
wouldn't be surprised if I did see her. I would like to see her. I'm a fan of hers as well, but at
Yeah.
the same time, it seems like this might be more of a Bo-Katan focused season, and they might not have needed her after all.
In the comments, let's see, 10 minutes, 15 minutes should have been. I do know a 100% prediction most likely gonna happen for Bo-Katan redemption story with her beating Mando after being the villain and get the Darksaber back. 100% gonna happen. Yeah, he's predicting that there are she's the antagonist, that that conversation was very tense, and it would make sense that because it would be just too easy to go. And I think Mando offered that in was it in season 2 or was it in the book? No, it was in season 2. It was like, if you want it, if you want to take it, or if you want to fight for it again, let's just fight. But to put tension behind it, I think would mean more. To that, I think I'd rather see. So if we're building to that, like we're gonna see her every other episode, or maybe one more time before the series finale where the big fight happens. I think an animosity between, or that tension between the two, and building and bubbling over, that I'm looking forward to. I'm excited about that. What do you think?
Well, naturally, between Din and Bo, you got two completely different schools of thought
Mm.
of where they want Mandalore to go. So there's already tension there. It's really just a matter of this. This is a ball of fire just looking for oxygen, and that oxygen is probably going to come later on in this season. So
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time.
Agreed. Not. I can't wait. I like Bo-Katan. I loved her even in the cartoon. And I'm happy that she's playing the actress is playing the character in real life and or in live action. I I will continue this and make this a thing. After show on every episode. What do you predict? Let's go into any further predictions. I know that on HBO, like after watching The Last of Us, we get a trailer, or on I don't know. Does Disney Plus do that? Do they drop a trailer right after or on an
Not
episode?
that I have seen, no,
Yeah,
unless
me.
I
Yeah.
must have just missed
I
it.
don't. I think. I don't think I remember. I think it's like maybe 24 hours later they might drop a trailer on like YouTube or something like that. But any predictions? Do you think? When do you think the? How long do you think it's going to take for that droid to be finished? And how long do you think it's going to take before Mando purifies himself in the lakes? What was that? What was that on the Purple Rain movie? The purify your lakes self in the lake of Minnetonka. How long do you think it's going to take for him to do that?
Um, I feel like that's going to be later on in the season. I think near the end. I think they're going to build up to A, seeing Mandalore, and B, finding out if the living waters even exist. I feel like they're going to build it up so much to where it just finds out that, oh, it was just a myth after all, which I low key kind of hope they don't do that. But if they do, that it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. But I think th- I I did a I did a I on another channel I did a Book of Boba Fett like after show and prediction for that,
Mm-hmm.
and my predictions were kind of off. So I'm kind of done predicting what's going to happen. I guess my biggest and boldest prediction is that living water stuff is not going to come till like the last third of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like out there ballpark pick, living waters is just probably just going to be a whole bunch of nothing.
At best, I've because I feel like he's got to get his honor back. I feel like that's got to be a completed mission. It's probably going to be the living waters is going to be reduced to a pond. He's gonna find one little body of water. Oh, there's a couple drops I can splash in my face, and I've mission. Technically, that is the way that you finish the mission. It's gonna probably be something like that. It's gonna be a whole search, and it's and what used to be a flowing river has been reduced to a puddle or something, but it'll technically count or something like that. Maybe not. So, but yeah. Um, and I'm thinking that the Android will probably the droid will probably be finished towards the end, just in time to help save the day when the big battle in the end. Probably do a little foreshadowing or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, but I like to speculate just a little bit. I don't like to go too far into it because I don't want to start writing the show in my head, and then when what I imagine doesn't happen, then I'm all like, oh, that sucks. I can't believe they. Before we go, you notice something that we didn't really talk much about. Grogu.
Oh yeah.
He was there, but it wasn't really about him at all.
Probably his biggest thing was when IG-11 was being worked on, and he like gave the hug to the mechanic.
Yeah, yeah. I got a pop out of that.
That was that was very nice, but it's interesting because I mean, literally the ending of Mandalorian season 2, spoilers just in case,
Yeah,
but Luke Skywalker at the end being like, you're my trainee now, and then Book of Boba Fett, you realize, oh, they've been training for like years now.
right.
So and I guess before we do wrap this up, I wanted to bring it up. It feels like if you didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, there's certain things that I feel like are just gonna fly over people's heads.
Yeah, because the
So
last thing
I
you
feel like
saw was him going to Luke,
exactly,
and
and
yeah,
then I put myself in the head of a casual viewer. I'm like, wait, when did they reunite? What did I miss?
right,
So there's definitely some disadvantages to making everything connected. You make everything required viewing, and so it just if you miss one thing, then it's like the whole house of cards comes crumbling down.
right.
It's not a show killer for me, but I just was putting myself in the perspective of someone who doesn't follow this like I do or you do or any one of our colleagues does.
From maybe from a casual fan, maybe somebody who doesn't really watch Star Wars, but got introduced to the Mandalorian and has been watching it since the beginning. Because there are a bunch of people who do not like Star Wars, who never watched Star Wars, who love the Mandalorian, and
Mm-hmm.
would not have watched the Book of Boba Fett. And I agree with you there. They tried to clean it up a little bit by giving a little explanation. Like I thought you said that you completed your mission, you turned him over to his people, and then he said, but then he chose to stay. That was a quick little explanation about it, but you saw him go to Luke Skywalker. And then you just get it didn't take. He went to summer school, he came back, kind of a thing. It kind of exactly how it felt, but. So you're right. If they didn't clean that up as much. One last thing before I had it. It was a question that I had right before a minute ago. I just forgot it. Something to look forward to. I was going to ask, do you think we are going to get the answer to how Grogu got out of the Jedi Temple this season? Or do you even want to know?
There's a part of me that does, but again, there's a part of me that maybe doesn't, because I don't know. I don't know who conceivably could have. I mean,
There's
what's
we could
Order
talk.
66?
We
Who
could talk about the.
conceivably?
I'll save it for the next after show. If you want to join me again next week, we could. If it kind of feels like it's about to come up, I could save the rumors. There's a bunch of rumors going around about it. Theories, I mean, not rumors, but theories. Some I hate, some I love. But we can say that. If you're cool to join me again next week, I'd love to have you on. And but if you want, we can record a recap on your show, however you want to do it, or we can just keep it here. If you like it, I love it. And let me wrap up the last couple of questions from Mr. Entertainment. They are making her the villain. That's why I already read that. I hate those types of so-called Star Wars fans. the ones who the fair weather fans, the one who doesn't watch everything, or the the ones who just joined, they're only into they don't watch all the Star Wars, but they do watch the Mandalorian. I mean, it's gonna happen. It's a way. It's a gateway drug. It's a way to, like, for some people, Rogue One I feel like if there was a person that said I've never seen a Star Wars movie and those are not I don't want to go back to the old ones. It's just not my cup of tea. I would probably introduce them to Rogue One first. I feel like the way they did it is a good jumping on point. That's a good jumping on point. I think Mandalorian, Rogue One, and Andor, they have that gritty feel that's a good jumping on point. So I mean, they may become the more in-depth geeks like us, but if I hope if you have time next week again, yeah, I'm gonna try to do this again. But so I would love to have you on if you're down. I'd love to have you back. I love this. I had a good time with this conversation. I am going to go straight to bed after this. I am dog tired. But if people want to find you online when they rewatch this, for people who are catching up with this recording, and I appreciate you, Derpy, for watching this live. But when people want to find you online, where can they do so again? If you don't mind telling them again.
So my social media is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd is RyanCam20, and then my YouTube channel is just called Ryan Cam. So definitely check me out there.
Yeah, check them out there. The reviews that you're doing, you said you just rewatched the John Wick movies again. Did you already put your reviews?
I just rewatched the first one. That review will be coming up this Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
the 5th. Sunday the 5th.
And the Creed movies, the Rocky movies, you just rewatched those?
Yeah, and that whole series just came to an end this past Sunday, the 26th or 26th.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all currently up on the channel right now.
So I look forward to after this week when we watch the latest movie, the Creed movie. Guys, follow them online and share your thoughts. Continue the conversation going after the live chat is over. If you're watching this recorded recap of episode The Apostate, chapter 17, season 3, episode 1. Let us know your thoughts, what you think about the whole episode. If you have any theories, did you like it? Did you not like it? Everybody, we all seem to be in agreement that it was too damn short, and we expected, I don't know what I expected, an hour and 30 minutes maybe, but I still enjoyed it overall. And until next time, guys, hey,